How's it going, everyone? Hey, Transition. How you doing? So, today is the day we're going to be doing episode 2 of the replays. I'm not too sure maybe if my post got lost or buried. I didn't get a whole heck of a lot of responses this time around. So, as it stands right now, I only have 5 replays for today. So depending on whether over the course of the episode, if we get any more um, to fill that sixth spot, I will either supplement it with one of mine or fill it with something we get. For the replays that we have going on today, our first one's one is gonna be Darth Pepper in the KV3 on Fjords. Um, yeah, for sure, transfusion, and that was I wasn't too sure. I posted it in the morning on on I think it was Tuesday or something like that, and there was only a handful of people, not even there was like 4 people who submitted um, replays. So I was a little surprised, but I thought probably it just got buried a little bit in in Reddit. So um, I was really hoping I could send out to all the followers an email just saying, "Hey, this is how you can, um, I've submitted this and feel free to check it out." But sadly, cannot do that. So yeah, the first replay that we're going to be looking at is from Darth Pepper in his KV3. Um, and oops, let's blow this up a little bit. I'm just gonna put the. Remember how we had um, our 4 main points? I'm gonna put those up on stream, and then what else? One of the comments I actually got from someone was they really like to see a more zoomed in map. So I kind of added that in, and now I'll be able to talk to you a little bit about map positioning a bit easier for you to see. So given the first 4, um, or the 4 kind of things we look at when we evaluate the map at the start. So we asked, what map is it? So Fjords. Fjords is an interesting map. Typically what you'll see is your more heavier tanks will be going down into this southern pass here from either side. If you're coming from the east here going to it, try to take a route that actually goes through the city here and stays away from going through the middle or cutting in through this line, because what ends up happening is you'll get shot from this backside here. Mediums tend to go around here and lights, and they'll get shots on your backside. So if you're going to go down to this position down here, typically take that route through here and use the buildings as your cover. Similarly, if you're spawned on this side, you want to usually, instead of crossing on this upper path here, you can take the backside down here in case any lights or mediums from this side come in here and shoot you down the pathway. Um, So that's normally where the heavier tanks go. Your lighter and medium tanks, they kind of have 2 choices from this east side. They can either go all the way up and around here, or they can kind of cut through the middle. There's some bushes in here and here where you can get spots on people driving up here depending on their camo, but sometimes it's hit or miss. One of the things you have to watch out for if you're playing this middle from the east spawn is if these people, because they can make it all the way up here before your team come up this hill. If they come on up here in this spot here, they can get side shots on you guys in here. So be cognizant of the fact that when you're playing this middle spot that people will be cresting over on this side when you have a tendency to be looking in this way. Artillery on this side generally plays out on this little island thingy here, and then artillery in north can play either anywhere from along here all the way up until here. Tank destroyers do like to kind of play on both sides of this thing at the start, but just depends on the tier and what's going to happen. So the next thing, if we look at tank composition, I would kind of, in certain areas you're heavier than the other team. For example, you have a KV4, T34 as your top tier. Those are much heavier than the Tiger 2 and T34-3. They get a little bit back with the Roomba, but you're balancing out that Tiger P over there. So it'll be a fairly heavy composite. If you took your heavies down here, you should probably be able to win that. The thing you want to be wary about is if you send too many heavies down there and then they push and collapse on your field up here. So the other thing too is there's only one artillery piece, and yeah, so as long as you're in here, you're pretty artillery safe. It's kind of when you turn around this corner and vice versa. If you're on here and turn around this corner, the other thing too is when you're on the west side and you're down here, if you win down here, don't just assume that you can push forward. Generally, what happens is TDs will be sitting up here, and if the other team knows that they're losing this spot, the TDs and whatever tanks and artillery are all going to be waiting for you to crest this corner. So just be wary about that when you push around. So we're just going to get this rolling. I'm going to just speed it up to 2 times at the start here, or 4 times. I'll get through there. Okay. We'll see where you end up going for that. So it looks like majority of your bigger tanks are coming down here. So your KV4 is taking a little bit of a route that I would not suggest doing, simply because he can be lit from back here and shot in the side, as well as lit from down here and shot. Okay, so they put a Panther in the mid. That's interesting. So it's kind of good that they have put their mediums here, because what that tells you is they're not gonna have a larger force up north, or at least in comparison to what they could have, and yeah, so your team might have a bit of an easier time here, and they're kind of stuck here, right? And if they want to come out, they have to come down here and run into you, or they have to go north. So you see where those guys are at right in there, in this position. They have the back shots on stuff in here. So I'm just going to shift it into the player's view to see what he's looking at when he's playing this. So, I mean, the thing is, when you're here like this and you have the support of a T-34, you can be a little bit more aggressive, right? You have 1,400 hit points. You know you're going against a Tiger 2 and a Tiger P who hit for between 250 and 320 respectively. You can be pretty aggressive around this corner. You just don't want to go too aggressive, because you don't know if this T-28 prods come back down, and you don't know if artillery can come down and shoot you. So now you spotted the Roomba, and he has the big gun. So this is important. What just happened is not only did you spot the Roomba, but you've also seen that he had... Oh, that's pretty loud. But appreciate the sub there, Brent. Not sub, follow. The thing about that is he has the big gun, which I think it's either 18 or 21 second reload. So what that tells you is he's not going to be able to shoot for a good bit of time. You've also seen that your Tiger P is down to 1 hit, and then there's the Tiger 2 there, of course. So given that, you have to just keep in mind... Yeah, I recognize the name, Brent. I was like, who is that? Just keep in mind that you can use that to your advantage, right? When he fires on one of your teammates, or even on you, you know, given his reload and your reload, how much time you have in between and when you can push that. So we're just going to keep rolling and see what you end up doing. The other thing that you can see is Middle's kind of getting bullied a little bit. You still have a full health KV4, but they definitely have the advantage in terms of tanks right there right now. Just go back to your view. Okay, so you took that shot in the track, that's fine. You still have a few seconds before he's going to fire again. You know, if we keep looking back to middle, you guys need to start pushing here, and maybe you need to take the hit for that T-34 because your mid is starting to lose. It's getting surrounded, and you need to do something about that. You need to go back, or you need to push these guys and kill them out. And now you just lost your biggest tank in there. The other thing too is you actually have oops. From back in that corner back there, without even moving, you have shots up here on the Comet and T-34. So that's something you just want to be worried about is shooting lanes wherever you're at on the map. Because yes, you can move in and try and help your 69 here as well, but you can also shoot all the way up here and get some shots on that. So just something to keep in mind. That was a good shot, good shot. So the Tiger P behind you just died, which is good. You still have 2 tanks there, so you don't have to be as worried about it just yet. You get the shot off, good. Now you're okay, so you did use a repair kit. Looked like you weren't there for a second. That was a big miss. See, what you want to do here is you actually want to get to the side of them. You want to make it so that you can try and get around them. Or face hug them. Wow, somebody pinned you with the HE, that's interesting. Alright, so we just pause it right here. And we look at the map. The north has fallen. But let me get some HP counts. The T-34-3 is 1 shot, and AMX is 100%, but only 600 health. You can probably take on this Panther pretty easily, but if you look behind you, you've now lost that. So the Tiger 2 and the Roomba are going to be coming very quickly, and artillery is still alive, and chances are artillery is sitting somewhere up in here. So the things you just need to be wary of is yes, the support. You want these guys to stay alive because you need them to stay alive. You have these guys here who can shoot in here. Remember how I talked about when these guys win, they come around. So you want to leverage these guys so that they can shoot in here, while at the same time staying artillery safe and not exposing your backside to these guys. Because it looks like these guys are running north to go cap, so you don't need to worry about them for a little bit. So you just need to find a position, probably somewhere in here, like in this crook right here. Wow, it's a lot of smoke. Somewhere in here where your artillery's safe from the north, where your back's not exposed to the guys coming through here, where these guys will still proxy spot these guys, or just spot them in general for these guys to shoot in. That's kind of best scenario right now. And it almost looks like you're kind of neglecting the people behind you right now. So your driver is dead, so that's why you're fairly slow. Is there a reason you take the speed governor over a med kit? I mean, I realize you're probably not here, but just as curious. Okay, so you've recognized south as lost, so you've turned back that way. Yeah, you don't really have the power to move anywhere. So you see how our artillery has a shot on you? I would probably want to reposition somewhere over to the left here now because it's just not safe there anymore. Oh, it's too bad. Yeah, watch your side now, yeah. Okay, so either that T-34-3 is somewhere in here, or he came north and now he's getting shot on those guys, so it's a little bit of a bleak situation here. In transfusion, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what to do around it. I did reduce the resolution, or downsize the resolution, however you want to call it. But I'll look at seeing what I can do. I just don't really want to stop or restart the stream again, just to cut the video into multiple segments. So I'll see what I can do about that. I'm just going to speed this up briefly to see what changes here. I mean, you don't really have a lot of options. You don't have the mobility to move around. You kind of have to let them come to you, and you're at the mercy of that artillery. Yeah, there it is. I mean, at this point, it's very hard to do anything because your team doesn't really have the tanks to push them to do anything, and they're not making super mistakes and pushing into you, and it's kind of a dog's breakfast at this point. Alex, I think I got one from transfusions, but depending on the timing and stuff, we'll see if we have time. Yeah, I'm just gonna speed this up a little bit and see how this unfolds here. Bit of a miss there, that's alright. Alright, so you guys get the kill on that, that's good. Looks like the Panther's gonna push that. I mean, he should be able to kill that Panther, assuming nothing hits him yet. Okay, so things have kind of turned around a little bit. I mean, that's what you needed, right? You needed them to make a mistake and come into you. There was nothing really you could do to outplay them except for just you know, staying there. Artillery keeps pestering you, and sadly, once again, there's nothing you can really do about that except for try and maybe back up this way using this building to block you in between the Tiger 2 and the Roomba and keep backing up. That would kind of be the only thing that I could see you doing. Because that artillery is just going to keep trying to pound you in there, to be honest. So if you can line a sight back away from these guys, you can kind of readjust and be a little bit more unpredictable for them. Because right now they think you're there, and you still are. Just going to fast forward it slightly. So they may have tried to take a different route and go through here. So so your Panther 2, you have a full Panther 3, which is great. But if he's gonna suicide into them, yeah, that's not what you wanted. That's too bad. See, he probably should have just stuck with you guys, because you hadn't seen the Tiger 2 and Roomba for so long. It was kind of obvious that they were transitioning somewhere else. So had he just stayed with you guys, and you could have used the AMX 12T to scout or whatnot, you would have been able to probably take that out. Just gonna keep speeding this up. I'm guessing you're just gonna walk around the corner and take a Roomba hit or something like that, but we'll see what happens. Alright, so Panther sees the already in the north. Hopefully he doesn't die to him. Good. I mean, it's kind of like who's going to die first sort of thing here, but your AMX should probably be doing most of the spotting for you just because you have the alpha gun that in the event that he spots someone and dies, and you can shoot, but, you know. Now, you probably want to wait for your Panther. Like, just looking at your team position, you have very low health tanks, and you have the tank advantage, but you're not using it right now, right? you're pretty much stacked on top of your AMX. So if he gets spotted, you probably get spotted, and your Panther's nowhere to even be to flank them, right? Like the goal here would be have your AMX try and get one of these bushes or whatever without being lit to spot that, and then have somebody come around flank, turn turrets, do those sort of things. Right now, you don't have the capability to do that. I guess you had HE loaded for the Roomba. Okay.
We're dead for. Everyone get out.
Yeah, I think it just at the end there, I mean, you guys needed to just wait for that Panther to come. It looked like he was turning back towards our base, though, which was kind of weird. But, you know, I think the main takeaways from that is when you guys had the advantage down south, it was only a Tiger P, a Tiger 2, and a Roomba. And when you saw that majority of them were in the middle there, before they could push on your KV2, you guys need to be aggressive there. And whether that was you taking a hit from the Roomba, so your T-34 could come out and hit them for 400 or whatever, because really once that Roomba fires once, you guys had 4 tanks down there that he fires once, you all come out and you could just alpha him down, right? And then you eliminate that from the game, and then you just go on to the Tiger P, and then you go on to the Tiger 2. So I think just recognizing when you had the advantage down there, and then you had to come back to deal with the loss you had here. But at that point, you had lost so much of your team that it was very much you were at the mercy of the other team making mistakes, which they did at certain points. But then your team kind of gave it back with that Panther 2, and then at the end there, just going in without having that true flanking power around there. But appreciate the replay, and we'll go on to the next one. So the next one is from Gadzookxx, and it is an AT7 on Airfield. Okay. So, if we take a look at this, what map is it? Is Airfield. Normally how this plays out is your heavier tanks will be going into this middle area here from both sides respectively. You have to be careful about where you position in here, normally because if artillery will either go mainly from this east side, they'll be down in this area, but they can, if they're fast enough, get up into this back corner here. But if from the most time they're down here, and if they are, you have to be worrisome about being on this side of this mound, because once you get spotted, you're in an artillery lane. So tend to be on the back side of this side when you're lit, and then kind of just feel out where the artillery is. But that's where the heavies normally play. Tank destroyers on this side will either be going up here or in this back corner here. Sometimes they play in the middle here, but they're more or less useless in my opinion here. Occasionally you'll see strategies where people try and push along the south beach here. I really don't like it because once you're spotted, unless you full on aggressive push and you actually have the number advantage and are able to clear it out before artillery and everyone else fires in on you, you have to go across pretty much a complete open straightaway, which allows the people on this side of the hill to shoot, which allows the people on the back side here to move over to shoot down, which allows the people on here to shoot on you, and then anyone else in here to shoot on you. So I don't really like it, but you'll see it sometimes from different people. Mediums and lights usually play this middle area here, so just scouting around and trying to see in. Also, the area for mediums and lights is up on this pedestal here, so you'll see them come around and go up in here. You can get shots from there all the way down here and cover this side here. Respectively, on the other side, mediums and lights go in here as well as up on this pedestal. Tank destroyers typically go back in this area here. So when you're on the east side, you have to be worrisome once again from artillery on the backside here. But if you go too far into here, around this corner here, tank destroyers up here will be shooting down that line as well. Sometimes you'll see once again tank destroyers in these kind of positions here. I don't like it. I don't think it's very useful. But you'll see people there sometimes. Other things you'll see on this map, depending on who's playing it, is you'll see lights and stuff from either side. Try and get positioning on these rocks and different rubble things all along the way. Um, Although it might seem like a good idea, in my opinion, it really isn't, because it's kind of like, okay, you get there, either you got shot along the way, or you died along the way, or now you're there and you can't poke out to spot, because if you do, you're gonna die. So I don't exactly like it on there, though. In very specific situations, I've seen it work. It's probably more of a late game strategy, I would say, than anything when you're trying to clear things. But um, there's that. So, given the tank, we're in a tank destroyer. Um, Typically, where I'd see you go, and you're in a little bit of a slower tank destroyer, so sometimes it's a bit more difficult to gauge. But if you can, I would try and make it up to this corner here, because from here, if any of them come around this corner here, you're just going to slaughter them because you have a high DPM gun, right? That's your advantage. Um, if you try to go up here, because they have 3 pieces of artillery, basically when you get spotted, you're so slow that it's very hard for you to reposition, and there's not a lot of artillery safe zones on this map. So if you were in the middle, you'd have a hard time always turning back and forth and backing up and slowly moving up the hill. That'd be very hard for you. You can play in here with your tank, but you're really at the mercy of your team pushing somewhere and following up on them, which isn't bad, but it just means that you either have to keep up with them, and then if they want to pull back, you're kind of committed. So your kind of choices are really here and here, in my opinion. When you're up here, you get spotted right away fairly quickly, and because your tank isn't that very fast, once again, these 3 artillery pieces are gonna kind of mangle you. In terms of team composition, they are heavier, definitely. Especially that, I mean, you're kind of even at the top. Whatever they have, 45 versus the IS, but when you get down to your middle one and they have the 6 togs, that's just a lot of HP that you have to deal with. It's not necessarily hard HP to deal with, but it's a lot of HP to deal with. So there are 3 artillery pieces, not a lot of tank destroyers, but 3 artillery pieces. So you have to always be worrisome about that when you're lit, trying as best as you can to kind of be safe. So we're just going to roll this here. I'm going to speed it up at the start just to see what happens. And I'll get that mini map up a bit. So you can see the light on your team is doing that run up there that I talked about, where they're trying to get into some of these different sort of things. Or he's going all the way to the back. Okay. So it looks like you're supporting your platoon mates, which is fine. In the middle there. The one thing too that I want to mention is on either side, if you have a fast enough tank and can get up to this kind of lip bridge here, you can get an early shot on anyone going up the hill. So for example, if you're on this side, if you can get here, you can look across and shoot people going up. So for example, that Panther, when your KV-13 was there, if he was pre-aimed and didn't try and go up and just looked at that, he may have had a shot on that Panther, and vice versa. If your buddy tried to go up that and your Panther was on the enemy team was there, he could get a shot on you going up. So it's kind of a nice way to get a little bit of early damage out pretty easy. So you guys take down one of their lights. So the thing you're going to have to watch about here, you saw how artillery has been firing. That's 3 shells that just dropped over near your friends over here. So, part of what they need to recognize, and if they don't recognize it, you need to kind of assist them, is there's already been, I'm pretty sure there's been about 4 shells, because I remember seeing one at the very start land in there. That's hitting here. So that kind of tells you that artillery is down here in the J1 area in here, because they have a direct line from there into here. So they need to move. And whether that means moving down into here on this side, backing out, or going up the hill. Now, at this point in the game, it's very difficult for them to get up the hill, just because these guys are on the inside here, which would shoot them if they try to get up the hill. So But they can't stay there. There's 3 artillery, and they're just going to continuously wheel them down. And they've already taken half the life of your KV-113, as well as a quarter of the T-29. So you get a good shot on the T-29 up there. So yeah, you kind of overcommitted going around this corner. When you were on the backside here, that was good for you because all you needed to do is just poke your gun around the side and cover this lane. Now that you're out there, you're way overexposed and overextended that you can't really do anything. You really didn't need to move up to this because for one, your artillery safe, and two, if we look at your actual tank, this is one of the unique British TDs where the gun is on the full right side, and the main weakness of these tanks is the couple on top. But if you're behind this hill, you can actually angle it so that your gun's pointing out the side of this, but they can't actually see your cupola. So you could have actually sat back there, artillery safe, and cover this one lane, so your buddy doesn't have to commit. And if they want to commit, then you're just going to DPM them down. So it would have been great to stay back there, but let's see if you can make it back there or not. Yeah, so there's artillery. See if they shoot your hat. No, getting a little lucky. There's something out there in the field out there that now we've seen, so it's probably, I don't know, maybe the T-25 too. There's artillery again on you. So once again, you know they're down there, so you want to stay on this side. So there's artillery again. So all these people in here, they're not recognizing that artillery has basically free reign on them. Because all the enemy team has to do is just basically spot you guys and then just back up. I mean, they're getting a little bit greedy trying to come around, but that's really all they have to do. And so once again, you gotta remember that they're down there, so you need to either hug this wall right here and DPM that guy. No, it's unfortunate. Your own ally. The other thing too is, so you can see they're starting to push in the south again here. So
That one didn't go through.
I mean, had you stayed back there and backed up onto that corner, you would have been able to haul down basically these two, and you would have done work. You would have killed them very quickly. What's your penetration values? Okay.
Enemy is hit. Penetration.
And so right now you probably want to get in front of your T-29 to preserve his health, just because you have the HP and he doesn't. Now he's going to get killed by the IS. So had you been in front, you might have been able to save your friend and he could have shot over top of you. Also, like I said, you're still not artillery safe, right? If you were down in there, you might have been. So you're probably going to get hit here pretty soon, I would imagine, unless they're focusing on the middle. So you probably don't want to be pushing the IS right now, simply because that E-25 is behind you, and he's just going to come around and be able to shoot you in the butt. Probably would have been better just to kind of back up onto that ledge pedestal there and let them come to you. But, I mean, you lucked out and they didn't do anything, so that's good. Yeah, so you're just losing the team. So at this point, it's more or less done. You're in artillery lane again, so expect to get dropped on fairly soon. It's interesting how the E-25 didn't. He has the mobility on you, and he could have just come right past you and gone around you, but he's choosing to run. So there was one artillery that launched. Assuming another one will come in fairly quick. I'm just gonna speed this up a little bit. Oh, there's one. Oh, get him!
Enemy armor is destroyed.
Oh, it's just dodging everyone. I mean, if the enemy's gonna present themselves to you like that, that's great.
Penetration.
There's one.
Penetration.
It's kind of funny when it's fast like that.
One of our tracks is damaged.
Oh no!
We've lost a track.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, so I think you had a very strong position at the start of the game, but you kind of gave it up for not no real reason actually. Like you could have just stayed there, poked your gun around, maintained your cupola hidden, and been artillery safe, and you could have hold that or held that entire lane. And effectively just stop them from doing things. At the same time, needed to communicate and work with your team to just say, hey guys, you're in an artillery lane, you need to move. And whether or not the rest of your team move, I mean, you had an artillery piece up there as well, so that was kind of a mistake on his part. But I'm assuming in being in that platoon with your buddies, you're just letting them know that hey, you can't sit in that lane because we know that artillery's in the southwest there. So they needed to come down to your corner and help you push that, or they needed to back up out of there and find a different route. So appreciate it. And Fat Cat is back. So thanks for the replay there, Gadzookxx. And we are going on to the next one. It is Father Crime in an ELC AMX on Fjords. A lot of Fjords going on. Yeah, is he sleeping right now? He's passed out. Maybe one day I'll get a cam or cat cam or something like that, and you guys can see him. He does the amazing thing of waking me up at like 4 in the morning. It's perfect. Okay, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through the actual map because we talked about it on our first one with the KV3. But if you remember, heavies kind of go down here, or that's typically where they go, or they can come in here. Your medium lights either go up north or play in here. You can go to different areas, like for example, I mean, because we're in a scout, it's like, okay, well, where should I go in a scout? From this side of the map, you have a few options. I like, you can go into this area here at E7 and be in that bush, and it's going to give you early lights down here. The only thing is, it's kind of a well-known bush, so sometimes artillery will blind fire it, and you also have to be worrisome, like I said, about these people coming over the top here and just basically spotting you from the side. So don't stay there too long, but it's a